15 feet of concrete and steel is all that separates this room from a city that is actively being destroyed. It's late April 1945. Berlin is surrounded, and in a bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery garden, the man who started it all is running out of time. By this point, Soviet forces have encircled Berlin almost completely. Street by street, the city is falling. The German high command is fractured, communications are failing, and orders from the bunker often no longer reach anyone able to carry them out. This is the Führer bunker, a low, cramped complex under the Chancellery garden, built for exactly this kind of last stand.
Inside are soldiers, secretaries, doctors, and a shrinking circle of loyalists. Above them, what's left of the government they serve is falling apart in real time. Even now, he's giving orders to divisions that no longer exist, units that were destroyed weeks earlier or were never real at all. Generals in the room know the truth. Few dare to say it out loud. One by one, the reports come in. Reinforcements that were supposed to break the siege never arrive. It becomes clear, even to those closest to him, that there will be no rescue. Those who were with him in these final days describe a man who has grown physically frail, a marked tremor in one hand, a stooped posture, someone visibly worn down. Whatever certainty once drove him, by this point, is gone. Eva Braun has chosen to stay, despite being urged more than once to leave Berlin while she still could.
It is a small, hurried affair. There is no illusion among anyone present that this is a beginning. That same night, he dictates his final political and personal testaments, documents laying blame elsewhere for the war and naming a successor government. Historians widely regard these final writings as a refusal, even at the very end, to accept responsibility for what had happened. Word reaches the bunker that Mussolini, his closest ally, has been killed by Italian partisans, his body publicly displayed in Milan. It's one more sign, among many, of exactly how this is going to end. Also in the bunker is the family of Joseph Goebbels, his wife Magda, and their 6 young children. Magda Goebbels has made clear she does not intend for any of them to live in a world without National Socialism. It is one of the darkest decisions of these final days. On April 30th, the final military briefing confirms what everyone already knows. Soviet troops are now only a few streets from the Chancellery itself. There is nothing left to command. Shortly after, he says a brief goodbye to remaining staff in the bunker, described by witnesses afterward as subdued and impersonal.
Then he and Eva Braun retreat to their private room. At around 3:30 in the afternoon, a gunshot is heard from behind that door. When staff enter, they find both Hitler and Eva Braun dead, he by gunshot, she by cyanide poisoning. There was no ceremony, no final address. Just confirmation, passed quietly between the small number of people still in the bunker. Following his instructions, the bodies are carried up into the ruined Chancellery garden, doused in gasoline and burned, a hurried makeshift cremation done under continued shelling. The following day, Magda Goebbels carries out what she had decided days earlier. Her 6 children are killed, and she and her husband take their own lives shortly after. It remains one of the most devastating individual tragedies of the entire war's final days. Within days, most of the remaining staff attempt to flee the bunker or surrender. The complex that had held the last version of the regime is left empty. On May 2nd, Berlin formally surrenders. Just days later, on May 8th, Germany's unconditional surrender ends the war in Europe. The bunker's final 48 hours are often treated as a strange historical footnote, but they matter because they show exactly how a regime built on total control ends, isolated, in denial, underground, and out of options. There's no dramatic final stand here, just a slow, ugly unraveling. It's worth remembering that these 48 hours are a tiny fragment of a war that killed tens of millions of people, and of a genocide that defined the regime's legacy far more than its final hours ever could. History doesn't end in a single dramatic moment. It ends in small rooms, hurried decisions, and consequences that outlast everyone involved in history. If this kind of history interests you, there's a lot more still buried in the details most people never hear about, worth digging into.